Annihilation.
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 1 minute at a time.
It was not I who began it, turned out into drafty caves, hungry so often, having to work for our bread. Hearing the children whining, I was nevertheless not unhappy. Where Adam went, I was fairly contented to go. I adapted myself to the punishment. It was my life. But Adam, he kept on brooding over the insult, over the trick they had played on us, over the scolding. He had discovered a flaw in himself, and he had to make up for it. Outside Eden, the earth was imperfect. The seasons changed. The game was fleet-footed. He had to work for our living, and he didn't like it. He even complained of my cooking. It was hard to compete with heaven. So he set to work. The earth must be made a new Eden, with central heating, domesticated animals, mechanical harvesters, combustion engines, escalators, refrigerators, and modern means of communication, and multiplied opportunities for safe investment and higher education for Abel and Cain and the rest of the family. You can see how his pride had been hurt. In the process, he had to unravel everything because he believed that mechanism was the whole secret. He was always mechanical-minded. He got to the very inside of the whole machine, exclaiming as he went, "So that is how it works. And now that I know how it works, why, I must have invented it. As for God and the other, they cannot be demonstrated. And what cannot be demonstrated doesn't exist." You see, he had always been jealous. Yes, he got to the center where nothing at all can be demonstrated. And clearly he doesn't exist, but he refuses to accept the conclusion. You see, he was always an egotist. It was warmer than this in the cave. There was none of this fallout. I would suggest, for the sake of the children, that at the time you took it over. But you are my daughters. You inherit my own faults of character. You are submissive, following Adam even beyond existence. Faults of character have their own logic, and it always works out. I observed this with Abel and Cain. Perhaps the whole elaborate fable, right from the beginning, is meant to demonstrate this. Perhaps it's the whole secret. Perhaps nothing exists but our faults. At least they can be demonstrated. But it's useless to make such a suggestion to Adam. He has turned himself into God, who is faultless and doesn't exist. Judith Wright, Eve to her daughters. The script offers a specific shot we do not get. Exterior, the sun, sundown, the light of the setting sun refracting into a rainbow. While in the film we do have that refracted rainbow off to the left in the mist. 5 women, down to 4. They emerge single file from a fog near the left edge of frame. Ventress in the lead, walking toward and to the left of camera. Camera tracks slowly backward. Second 13, we cut to Thorensen and Lena behind her. And now, we get a moment from the script that the film skipped a few minutes ago. Sort of. From the script. As they walk, Lena becomes aware that Thorensen is talking to herself. Low muttering, unintelligible. It sounds like some kind of internal private argument, unwittingly externalized. Lena watches. Lena, "Hey Thorensen." Thorensen's gaze flicks round. There's a flash of something in her eyes. Something like anger. Something like a lack of recognition, as if whatever she's seeing at that moment, it isn't Lena. Then it's gone. Thorensen, what? In the film, Thorensen walks silently, staring, unblinking, lost, broken. Lena,
You okay?
Thorensen turns. Thorensen, fine.
Fine.
A lucky accident in the production, or a really well-choreographed move in the blocking, has Thorensen step at this point into a deeper, wetter part of the swampy field below frame. In the script, she simply says, "Leave me alone." In the film, just, "Leave me the fuck alone." Thorensen moves faster than the camera now, growing larger in the frame, and then leaving to the right. Lena eyes her warily, and we cut, second 23 to exterior, outside Ville Perdu, sundown. Although really we're not outside Ville Perdu. It's a crane shot. The script says the 4 women stand on a dirt road. Ahead is a small town, a backwater place. The 20 or so buildings are largely wooden and single-story. Plant life has been busy reclaiming the structures. The moss tumor growths are even more extreme here. Some of the buildings are half swallowed by the red and green clusters. But we do not see the women yet on the cut. One 2-story structure made of corrugated metal dominates the left half of the frame, overgrown with ivy and other plant growth. There is one immediately noticeable patch of yellow, one patch of red, but neither is particularly large. This location feels more as if it has been reclaimed by nature than overtaken by the tumorous growths of the shimmer. Poles and power lines in the distance are also overgrown, and a house in the middle distance on the right has more plant growth visible than its own surface. Camera tracks right. The women come into view in the distance walking right. They turn toward camera, and we cut second 34 to a side angle. Camera tracking right still. Ventress walking past an old pickup truck. The house beyond is overgrown, as is the truck. Thorensen is next, now walking faster than Ventress. She passes Ventress, and Radek comes into frame on the left. Radek carries her rifle in both hands, but casually. She looks around at everything, including Lena, now walking along the covered porch of the house instead of the overgrown road where the other 3 walk. Ventress looks nowhere but forward. Thorensen leaves frame at right. A mailbox on a post comes into frame on the right, briefly eclipsing the bright sun beyond. Second 40 cut to a new angle. Camera still tracks right. An upturned patio chair and an old table at right of frame, tall grass dominating the left. Thorensen comes into view first beyond the grass. She turns her head briefly toward the table, then does a double take, slows to a stop, and changes direction. She makes a beeline for the table, and we can see now that a second chair is still upright to the right of it. The other women start to come into view. Dr. Ventress. We'll camp here tonight. In the script she says, the ocean is another 2 hours hike from here. We pick a house, secure the windows and doors, and we don't venture out until sunup. In the film, another 2 hours walk up the coast. Thorensen heads for the upright chair, but does not reach it as we cut away second 51 to an old playground. Camera tracks left now. Though the women have already entered the town, the script says, exterior, Ville Perdu, sundown. The women enter the town. Not talking. Not talking. Scanning. Alert. Weapons unslung and hands resting with the finger above the trigger guard. Lena is distracted by the sight of one of the houses, from which a tree has appeared to grow from the inside. Branches push out through the windows and roof shingles. In the film, we can see this house mostly in silhouette in the right half of frame, and the tree is far too large to have grown like this in just 3 years. But our eyes are probably drawn instead to the rusted and bent jungle gym in the foreground on the left. And through it, we can see another house in the distance, and Thorensen removing her pack and setting down her rifle. She has not yet sat down, as time runs out for this minute.
We spoke. What was it we said?
Wordlessly watching, he waits by the window and wonders at the empty place inside.
Annihilation is all we are.
Annihilation.